Hey, look at you in the flesh, in your Spider-Man costume.
Spider-Man, not the Flash.
No, I said in the flesh, in your Spider-Man costume.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, brother. I'm right here, ready to rock and roll. Let's give
Let's
this
do it.
people, let's give this people some juice, some juice, some juice. Um, cool. Did you get an email just recently?
Like right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Could have let me know I was taking a picture. I wouldn't have been looking down at the camera.
Okay. All right. Let me get people to people to join. I want to go over the closing process and maybe going doing some role playing in turn objections. I think it will be
Sure.
cool because I want to do the most common ones, the most common objections, right? That are that we get, right? Um like that essentially investors get. And I want to be able to handle it with you, right? Okay. Hate when technology literally like takes over us, and what happens is that emails don't really go through properly. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so we have one person in here, Dominic. What is going on, my man? And um, we have Jessica.
Evening.
Let's get some other people to join in here real quick.
How you doing, Dominic?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good, man.
All
Great.
right.
Good, good.
Uh, might as well show up, give everything here, and then we can use this content for repurpose content for uh, YouTube and for anyone that is in the mastermind, right? And I think this would be great for anyone joining the topic that we're gonna be covering. All right. Do you guys see my camera here? Yeah. You guys see my proper camera here?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Nice. Okay. All right. We're in the spooky season. That's why I'm dressed up like this. Let's see who else is joining. I wish you can just go live inside of this group, but I can't go live inside of this group. I think I can on Facebook, but not right now on school. So let's see if I can also go live on Facebook. Can we go live on Facebook with this? Let's take a look at this. Nope, I don't know how to go live on Facebook, but that's okay. All right, next time I'll go live on Facebook too, because right now school has a very low attendance, school.com. So I'm gonna make sure that next time we also go live on Facebook. But let's give it a round of applause for Dominic.
All
All
right.
right. So what am I gonna cover today? And what am I gonna cover, Jesse? Well, Jesse has been for a long period of time a closer his entire life, and he's been consulting, he's been training, coaching sales teams and individual people too, and he's also been helping um, social media clients with sales. And today, we're gonna go over one way of doing things, even though there is multiple ways to approaching sales. But it has to do with the process, right? The process of actually um, getting more deals done. Once you have the opportunity to speak with people, take that opportunity and actually capitalize by getting the deals closed, getting the contract done, and then ultimately do that over and over so that you can have an actual repeatable business, right? So I'm going to go over here real quick on something that is very important for anyone to understand. Real quick here. All right, when we talk about sales, the reason why we're talking about sales and we're putting in such a big effort is that in order to grow to the $1 million businesses, we need to be able to create a predictable client acquisition system that brings you leads, right? So we can actually give really good offers to our clients. But we also need to manage those leads properly. But we need to turn the company into a sales machine, because without leads, we're not able to talk to people. Without managing them properly, we're not able to actually get a hold of them and actually talk to them. And without sales, we're not able to close the deals, right? And turning sales into a manufacturing plant, it starts from the way that you acquire the lead from the very beginning, and to talk to the lead from the very beginning. And I'm gonna go over the sales process real quick. So from doing a discovery call, right? That is usually done by appointment setter or by the closer, and then doing a demo call or a home buying game plan call, or just offer call, right? Where you show them why they should essentially work with you and giving them an offer. All of this is a process. Once you end up agreeing on something, you get it under contract, and that has a process too, right? All right. So that's what we ultimately want to do, right? We want to see it as a process. Like that's what we want to see. We want to see everything is a actual process. So let me go open here the REI sales process sheet, and then the map. All right. All right. So this is the REIpreneurs sales process. Discovery call, lead manager, home selling game plan, offer call, demo call, whatever you want to call it. Like it doesn't matter how you call it. You ultimately need that, right? Last time we covered the discovery call. This is where we actually figure out the obstacles so that you can pre-handle objections prior to them coming up. And usually we get most of the objections whenever we're giving them, either we're dropping the price, or we're dropping a number, or we're trying to close the deal, right? We're getting, we should be able to, if we were to do a percentage, uncover about 80% of the objections that could happen during the discovery process, and then handle 20% of the rest of the objections after you have actually gone through the game plan, through the offer, through what you're gonna do for them, and then it's a moment to get it under contract, right? Once you get it under contract, well, luckily you don't have more objections. But those are like that's kind of like time frame of that we want to do on our entrepreneur actually looks like. But if we were to zoom in into this a little bit more, how does that actually look like if we were to put it together in the flow? Let me just go here to this flow map. My brain actually works this way, and it works in two ways: seeing everything in a checklist or in a standard operating procedures, and then also seeing things right here on the flow map. So last episode, like last time, we actually talked about the discovery call, right? Right now, if we find someone that actually wants to sell, what happens after that, right? And that is called the combined game plan call, or the offer call, or the demo call. In this call, we have removed all the obstacles and pre-handled a lot of objections if you've done it really well, so that in here we go deeper into that, and then ultimately just go over the game plan that they're going to have in order for us to buy the house, and then ultimately give them an offer. And then once we actually give them an offer, or like ultimately after we gotten a price from it, then we ultimately get more objections. It's always expected to get objections, even if it is like, well, I got to think about it, or well, how about this? How about that? Well, I kind of want to talk this through, internally or whatever. I don't make quick decisions. Those are all objections that you could potentially get, right? Now, this is kind of like a little bit of how it starts on the game plan call, right? You, first of all, you want to be prepared to know that you'll be talking with someone that is motivated, that actually wants to sell a house. And there's different levels of awareness, right? On motivation, different levels of motivation. There's people that are unaware, and you don't really want to do that. But you want to make sure that there's people that are fully aware and fully know what their level of motivation, and there's different levels of motivation, right? And at the end of the day, what you want is you want to go into a secondary appointment or a second call where it's a little bit longer, and you want to follow an actual frame, right? You are a consultative person that have put together, gotten everything from the discovery call, and now it's time to actually understand the person deeper, ultimately make a custom type of offer for them. And then once you have pitched and, set some sort of offer, you have to handle the objection that almost always is uncertainty, or objection on the price or the finances or whatever, or like on the spouse or partner, right? And then you get it under contract, right? So this is kind of like the flow map. This call usually takes about 30 minutes to 60 minutes. More than 30 minutes is the ideal time. It takes time to get homes, and sometimes you'll need to follow up with people, right? Like the one call close type of deals or type of processes, I don't like for this specific industry, because a lot of things can go wrong. But at the same time, we want to actually buy a house, and we get 10, 20, $30,000 rips out of it. So it's worth it to do more than one call, right? And we want to ultimately follow this specific format. Intro, where you get rapport that you frame, and once again, you start understanding their current situation based on the notes that you have in the discovery call. You go through their pain, right? You go through their doubts. You go through the obstacles that we have. So the support that they currently have, like a spouse or influencers that are in there. We go over any type of logistical issues that they could have that would not allow us to actually sell the house. We go through any condition that we have actually seen from the house based on the initial conversation, and then ultimately go deeper into their current motivation and their current goals so that we are able to expand the gap or like increase the gap that they currently have and just get them into a buying pocket, right? And once we transition into that, we would ultimately want to do a proper pitch. And I'm gonna go over it real quick on the script on how to do a proper pitch, because there's two type of pitches that I've seen for people that wholesale and also people that do wholesale, but also could do like any other type of creative pitches. Like we're talking here, for instance, innovations or like, or if you know how to flip it in the MLS, you can also do that type of pitch as well. It just depends whether you do a cash deal or whether you do more of a creative deal, right? And so there's different type of pitches. And then after that, when you create a pitch, you get them to ultimately commit by doing different type of temperature checks throughout the entire game plan. And you'll present them the next steps by giving them an actual offer, right? And while you have already gathered price, right? You don't want to give a price before you actually get a price, a price beforehand. You always want to get the price. And then it's almost expected that after you have given them an offer, there will be concerns, right? There'll be questions, there'll be objections. And that's why we have this type of calls right here to go over those challenges, right? And those objections could come down from different things: uncertainty, fear, right? Like a lot of different things could happen from them making the decision. Or spouse, partner, influencers, right? The actual price of the house is something they don't agree on, for instance. So that's called finances objections, right? Or objections of things that you didn't cover correctly during the discovery call that were obstacles that you were supposed to actually remove, right? If we go back to the discovery portion of this, we're going to be able to see that there's a part right here where we remove certain objections or removes, we understand certain obstacles, right? From them. So let's see, for instance, partner, spouse, urgency, timeline. So there's a lot of logistical stuff as well. Money, right? And ultimately fear. Like you need to be able to trust you and understand that you're the right person for this, right? So this is the discovery script. And for the home buying script, or ultimately game plan, how do you call this, Jesse, by the way? How do you call your second part of the process? Do you call it the offer call? Do you call it where you're gonna, how do you call that second part of the process?
Normally, I always refer to it as a follow-up call.
You call it the follow-up call?
Yeah, just because there may have to be 3, 4, 5 calls. So I don't want myself or my acquisitions team to get into the mindset of like this has to happen on this call. So I always try and go more from the angle of, hey, great, after we kind of are wrapping up the first call, I'm looking forward to having a follow-up call with you tomorrow at 4 p.m. And I can't wait to talk to you then. And then during that follow-up call, if the temperature is not right and it's not ready for a deal, maybe I need to do a little bit more due diligence or anything else. It's just an easy way to, roll right into the next time of, great, listen, thank you so much for the call again today, Esteban. I'd love to follow up with you tomorrow at 2. Are you available at 2? So we just kind of always refer to them as follow-ups.
Okay, cool. I like that follow-up. The way that I put it is a game plan, because we essentially want to be taking the time in our day from all the other applicants and all the other people that are also wanting to sell a house into creating something custom for them. So I like to say it's a game plan to sell their house, at speed that they want and at the conveniency that they want. Obviously, taking into account the conversation that we had during the first call, right? And everything that we're gonna do is very custom. Like we do it specifically for them to sell, so that they actually achieve the goal of Y and remove themselves from being at the X position. So that's the way that I actually like to position myself. Um, just because I've been doing it for like for like that for like a couple of years. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, follow up is also good, right? So what does it consist on? Like you essentially want to be able doing a you want to know the notes, you want to have the notes of the first call. And a lot of the times, the first call, you're not able to uncover all the real motivation or all the real underlying issues that this person has that would help you make a sale that is more of an emotional state rather than the logistical state, right? People sell, or in this case, for example, people buy things emotionally, right? They may want to make decisions logistically, but they actually buy emotionally. And the same thing for selling. Like they may want to do decisions logistically, but at the end of the day, they sell their house when they're in at their biggest emotional state. So we start by opening up, right? And then pre-framing as we are the top most cream of the crop, like top type of person that will help them, like investor, or I don't know how do you position yourself whenever you are talking with people. Like, are you positioning like are you a sales consultant? Sorry, are you a real estate consultant? Are you a uh, home buying expert? Like, what are you? Are you an investor?
Yeah, all the above.
All
Um,
right.
I never really go into that, to be honest with you. If somebody asked me, I would say, yeah, my specialty is I find and help homeowners. I help homeowners find solutions to get rid of their properties with speed, ease, and convenience.
All right. Perfect. All right. So, in this part of pre-framing, the way that I like actually training my salespeople to elevate our trust, and there's actually a really good book which is called Influence, and actually use a different type of attributes that influence and like different elements that influence talk about, which is social proof, right? Authority, right? You're able to essentially position yourself as that person that they want to actually work with, listen to, they respect, and they also believe that you are the person who you say you are, right? And you portray the value. So I always like to frame like, first of all, we want to frame it in a way where we can gain authority of the call as we ask questions. So, for example, in short, we help homeowners sell their house faster, easier, and give them cash through our cash home offer method. The way that the reason why we're saying it like this is because we're also telling them that we're different, and we have a unique mechanism or a unique way to fulfill to our clients, because anyone can actually promise cash offers, right? And then the rest is like, and because we do everything for you, we're pretty careful about who we decide to work with. I'm going to ask you a few questions just so I can understand where you're at and where you want to go. And if I see that there's a fit, I'll walk you through a custom home selling game plan. If not, I'll let you know, because if you're like most homeowners I talk to, you're probably really busy and I hate to waste your time. So I'll just end up guiding you what to do next. And does that sound fair? So we're pre-framing here. This is the part where we're actually pre-framing and then ultimately telling them how the call is going to how the call is going to go. And in the discovery process, we want to address those objections that we actually figured out in the first call. Now, again, this is just the follow-up call, right? And there's a lot of objections or obstacles, like, because they don't become objections until like you actually you're ready to close, right? Like there are obstacles. Like there are some obstacles that could make you not want to ultimately they may not ultimately help you. For example, let me see if I can give you guys examples of that. So um there's a lot, there's a list of objections here that people actually ultimately give, right? Or questions, concerned, things like that. And we should be able to, handle those things. But it's best whenever it's an actual obstacle, and that obstacle we're just like handling from the bat, from out of the bat, like way before. So you found certain things in the first call. Now we're gonna address those and we're gonna go deeper into that, right? And those objections could be again logistically, influencer, spouse. Ultimately, it could be something about trust. Um, it could be something about uncertainty or fear, whatever, right? And we're gonna go through that. We're gonna reinstate motivation because at the beginning they told us something why they're looking to sell, but we may not dig enough, and we also need to reactivate that emotional part, and that's why we want to reinstate that, reopen that buying gap, because again, people would want to sell emotionally, they buy emotionally, from other businesses. And that's why we want to ultimately expand and motivation once again here, right? Now, Jesse, do you currently have a specific script or something? Because this is our script, this is our process, obviously. But I want to know, like, if you, as someone that has done sales for such a long time and also in real estate, have a very similar process to that we have here.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So, hang on, let me find. Give me 1 second. I gotta find a file.
That's fine.
I have it. I just I don't know where.
You're good, man. You're good.
I'm just looking for it on my computer.
What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna share this with you and share this with everyone here, because again, there's different ways to skin the cat, right? And this is one way that works, right? Because we continuously do sales with this sales process. And but for example, RJ Bates, you go on, he has a different process. I made a blog about this, right? Yeah. He starts by asking right away, what's your price? And then he handles the rest right after, right? Um, Jordan Belfort does it in a different way, right? Jeremy Miner does it in a different way. Other people in the space, they may have a very similar way, but at the end of the day, if you follow a repeatable way of diagnosing your call and breaking down your call, you'll find repeativeness. Sorry, you'll find a repeatable process that will help you do sales over and over, right? So here we're removing a lot of objections that could potentially come up. Trust, fear, we're addressing obstacles that are happening. Like we're doing 80% of the work before we ever give an offer. And then once we give an offer, we're gonna get 20% off the other objections. And those might be also difficult, but that's how it's gonna. That's what usually what happens.
So Esteban, if you look in the chat, what I posted in there, this is kind of like what we would teach our folks for the follow-up call. So like we've already fact found about the property. We know all of the information. What are we doing? What are we saying on that follow-up call? Ours, I have another one, but it just has a lot of like personalized detail stuff in it. So this is more of a generalized one I think would be better to share. But it just kind of goes through exactly how the flow of that follow-up call should go. For us, it was always, an introduction, brief, short, to the point. Hey, Esteban, this is Jesse calling from Easy Exit Home Solutions. How are you doing today? Hey, listen, I was following up with you because I wanted to discuss the property I have at 125 Main Street. Again, just kind of a quick build rapport, use small talk to ease into the conversation, ask how their day is, the weather, just try and be an active listener. Want to have them enjoying the conversation again. Hopefully, we had a great discovery call. After that, we're going to pay attention to their tone, reflect empathy, because every lead situation is different. One person may be selling the property because they're excited to move to their retirement home in Florida. Another person may be selling it because his spouse just died 2 weeks ago. So, you want to listen actively so that your tone and your tenor of your voice can reflect everything properly. Qualifying the lead, we've already discussed that in the first part, but it's just kind of going back over. Sometimes we like to just discuss again the motivation to kind of bring everything back up to the surface. Um, a lot of times in sales, when we're talking about the emotional stuff, that's when we're most, thinking about making a decision. So sometimes from that discovery call to maybe the next day or 2 days later, or even a week later, if it would get that far, some of that emotional factor can start to kind of to subside. So we're trying to bring back the motivation, kind of rediscussing the property condition, everything that we talked about, 2 days ago. I just want to go over. So, we did discuss that we would have to be replacing the kitchen, and you said the whole place could use a good paint job. Now you were unsure about this. I'm going to kind of highlight all of the negatives, and I'm just going to engage with them and assess their interest. Number four, exploring the seller's needs. Kind of just touching base on again what they would love to do, like what's their end result. Value proposition, that's where kind of for us, we briefly explain the wholesaling process, if necessary, to clarify and help them. And for me, we always taught it as be willing to explain to them the 3-part buying process as many times as needed, because the 3-part buying process for us was informing the person from the initial call that every property that we're making an offer on, we're going to do one of 3 things with. We're either going to fix the home and flip the home and sell it to another person. We're going to fix the home, flip the home, and maybe keep it in our own personal rental portfolio. And the third option is sell it off to another person that's part of our investor network that does the same thing that we do. And the reason why I say explain that to people as many times as needed is because sometimes people just hear what they want to hear and not everything. And we've just had issues before where like it gets to closing and somebody acted surprised that we were wholesaling the deal. And that's where we go back to no, remember, or maybe even with a showing situation where they say, I thought you were buying the place. And I said, well, remember when we talked about this, we're just exploring all of our options at this moment. So it's just an easy way to kind of educate the people, highlight the benefits, explain how fast cash offers can work. No repairs needed. It's a hassle-free closing process. Offer speed, convenience, and ease. Share similar success stories. Again, this is a follow-up call, so we've already built rapport. We've had a great call. We're now ready to try and present them with the offer. So I want to go into my offer or discussing money in general on a high note. If possible, I want to use similar stories. If I'm talking to Esteban, who lives in Miami, and I just helped a family that maybe lives in Fort Lauderdale or something like that, I like to kind of bring that back up and just be like, man, honestly, Esteban, I know that you probably don't know the people, but you really remind me of this guy that I just helped out, and we actually were able to get his place in Fort Lauderdale. You guys just have so much in common. I've really enjoyed talking to you just as much as it was cool getting to know him. But then I'm going to roll into my offer. So I'm bringing up a past success story, rolling it right into my offer. So discussing price based on what you've shared, I'd like to present an initial offer to purchase the property. The next part is just, I was able to see, Esteban, that in your area, most of the off-market deals are going for a range of blank to blank. And this is where I'm going to kind of throw a number out, is what we always taught people, throw a range out that's in the very low side. And just ask the question, is that the ballpark you were hoping to be in? Or is that the ballpark you were thinking? And let them kind of go for the response. We want to get that response, even if it's an emotional hell no, are you crazy, anything like that, perfectly okay. Again, it's just part of our sales process. And if we have to, if they say, well, how did you come up with that number? I never mind explaining the formula and the details of how we assess the valuations of things to justify our offers. And we try and be transparent at how we arrived at our offer price. And I always said there's nothing wrong with being in business and making money. It's the American way. So we take pride in that type of thing, that we tell folks, we do this to make a living as well. It's not just a full-time hobby or pastime. So obviously we have to put some profit in there. And then we address the objections. Really, the purpose of this call is to keep that buying temperature high, to get some money ideas exchanging between the people. So we're going to listen to the concerns, address any objections as they come up. We don't want to interrupt, obviously. We want to be doing a lot of active listening, respond with care. I understand your concerns about. Let me explain how I think we would be able to help in this in that field, and then seek an agreement. Esteban, knowing that we were going to be there to help you get the things arranged for moving, and knowing that we can work on your timeline. Does that help to make the decision a little easier for you? Negotiate terms if needed. Is number 8, flexibility. If the initial offer is too low, just be ready to negotiate. What would make this offer more appealing to you? Again, they're all questions. And then be solution oriented. People love to have somebody that can help them through, trials and tribulations. So try and focus on what you can do for them. And then step number 9 is you finalize the agreement. So you either recap it, and you're agreeing on the price, a closing date, all that type of stuff, and then to discuss the next steps, which is going to be, we're going to call you, we're going to go over the agreement, a sale with you, blah, 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 blah. And then number 10 of the 10-step process of the call is, if you don't get the deal, you got to reaffirm the relationship and set yourself up for a follow-up. So you want to reaffirm the relationship by like, hey, Esteban, I'm really thrilled to work with you and help you through this process. I know that we weren't able to come to terms on everything today, but what we talked about, I'm going to go back. I'm going to speak to my manager about it. I'm going to have him talk to the finance department. And I think I'm going to be able to give you a call back tomorrow at 2 p.m. with some really good news. So let's both keep our fingers crossed. I'm going to set expectations. You will be following up with them because you're super excited for the chance to be able to help them. And, you're appreciative of the opportunity to be able to buy their home, and then thanking them. Just thanking them for their time, be sincere, reaffirm their name, reaffirm the time that you're going to be following up with them. And then just some additional tips were, use the process and guidelines, but adapt to each individual call. We always wanted to teach people, keep your head on a swivel and be nimble. Stay positive, enthusiastic, smile when you dial. And the last one is be patient and listen. Make sure that you're actually listening to their concerns, so they don't feel like you're just a telemarketer trying to quick sell them on something, but rather you're trying to focus on helping them.
Yes, sir. So this is obviously the process of the home buying game plan, or the follow-up call, or the demo. You can call it however you want. I like to call it the game plan call, because like it's literally we're giving them a game plan of exactly what's gonna go. But this is this is the second part. So you do the first part which is the discovery call, and you're able to uncover all the obstacles. You're able to actually dive into what's going on with them, and even give them a reason to come back to the second call, because you're able to understand fully their their challenges and their goals, and ultimately show them that you are a reliable company to work with, by telling them that you're going to have a great offer for them based on the conversation they're having. And then even you can educate them before you actually talk to them in the second call. You can send them like for example, a credibility package, or you can send them a video talking about how your company works, and what you're being able to do for other people, what's in it for other people, like what are some processes that your company does, like in order to buy houses and things like that. You can also have a video like that, and I'll cover that in another call. Then they'll show up, and once they show up, now you're able to go through this game plan or this pitch, where you essentially give them value proposition of how everything's going to go, and in a unique way, from anyone else, right? So this is literally how you're going to go about the sales process before you actually start handling other objections. So I think it's been already what, 45 minutes now.
The only thing to remember though, and I'm not saying this for you as much, Esteban, as I am for Dominic. The only thing to remember though with wholesaling is speed is key. There's a lot of times where if the deal's there, get the deal when the deal can be got. because sometimes people can get into their mindset of like, oh, I'm not going to close the deal on this one because it's so warm and juicy. Like they just don't want to ask the person for the deal. And then they call them back the next day and they accepted somebody else's offer. So if it's ready to buy, get the deal done. But that's all. Be nimble, be willing to adjust. It's like if I called Hessel Media and I was like, listen, I don't need the sales pitch. I've watched every one of Esteban's videos. I'm not willing to work with anybody else. I just need to know who to give my credit card to. Nobody's going to sit there and be like, whoa, slow it down, fella. You know what I mean? Like, we will decide if you can spend money or not. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, you have to make sure that they're a good fit, but you know what I mean. I think you get it, right, Dominic?
Yeah. So if you guys actually
Yeah, I
like
get
this
it.
stuff, this is what we share in REIpreneurs. And right now we're doing it for free. So I hope that you guys keep coming and tell others about this. So yeah, Dominic, all good? Any question?
Oh, no, that was good. That was good.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, thank you so much for coming in here. We're gonna post this in YouTube and also on our clients, Hustle Media client Facebook group and community. So I'm glad that you guys are here. All right. Thank you so much.
Right. See you guys.
All right. Thank you.